How's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. Cinestill 800T. Is it that moment where you find something new and you have to try it out? Well, it's been out for a long time, but I was lucky that a person in Japan on a Craigslist type of site was selling a Cinestill 800T for roughly $20, and I know people who live in North America would say that is expensive, but keep in mind that Cinestill 800T is produced by a company in the United States, North America, and if you factor in the shipping fee, it becomes quite expensive here in Asia, in Japan, and Tokyo. And if you purchase a Cinestill 800T, especially in a consumer camera store, they will charge you a whooping 3,300 yen, which is roughly $30 at Yodobashi camera, big camera, Kitamura camera, you name it all, which is a total ripoff. So I thought $20, I mean, it's a steal, so why not just try it out and just purchase this thing, see how it goes. Sad to say, in my biased opinion, that I have to admit the Cinestill 800T, when I looked at a lot of people who shot this film stock in Tokyo, they're not the best in the world, in my opinion. I mean, I might be blazing a lot of people, but I mean, I could probably do better than them, hopefully, on my first try. So it might work or it might not work, but let's see how it goes. And you guys probably know that Cinestill 800T is a film stock from the Kodak Vision film that was brought from the motion picture to the photography world. And in order to do that, they had to make some compromises. And that compromises is that in order to make it into a film stock for photography, they had to remove the remjet layer, which a lot of people talk about is basically additional layer that is added on top of this film stock, which basically prevents from halation and stuff. But because that layer is gone, you get a lot of halation and get these like moody type of photos that you see on the web that a lot of people love and some people hate. I personally think they look really nice in my opinion, but let's see how it goes. And by doing that, you can basically process this film in CN41 process method. For still photography, most like film negatives do that type of process. Well, if it's a motion picture film, I think you have to do the ECN2 process, which is, I guess, harder to do, if I'm right. I never tried it, so I can't say much about it. But there, in order to gain something, you have to sacrifice something, and that's basically what the Cinestill 800T sacrifices. You get extra like halation and these dreamy looks. I asked myself, what is the best location to shoot this film stock that has a lot of artificial lights and neon lights, if I'm right, and that no one saw on YouTube, if I'm right? So yes, Ryo Murata, I'm asking you, where is that best location? And I thought hard day by day, and I realized that there is one specific location that probably suits this film stock, and it has to be the Love Hotel districts of Tokyo. And this might surprise a lot of people, but compared to North America, like, you guys have like motels and stuff like that, and they're like really far apart from each other. But fortunately enough for Tokyo specifically, I'm not sure about other Asian types of countries how they have their hotels located, but in Japan specifically, the Love hotels are really adjacent to each other. They're like really crammed into one specific location throughout the city. And I thought that would be a really nice location to shoot with this film stock. For those people who are really curious, the most notable areas of Love Hotel districts is Shinjuku, Kabukicho, Ikebukuro, Gotanda, and Kinsho. Those are the basically largest ones. And honorable mentions that are minor, not famous, but they have some kind of historical background is Yushima Ueno. There's also Sugamo Otsuka, famous for lots of elderly people to go shopping, and also Uguisudani, which is located on the Yamanote line. Why do I know so much about Love hotels? Surprise, surprise, you shouldn't know, ask. So Uguisudani is sort of like a location that I've never been to, honestly, because if you've seen the map of the Yamanote line, this is basically the largest what I call train line that runs around in circles in Tokyo, and it's like the largest one basically. It's 30 minutes away from Shinjuku, and it's basically on the opposite side of Shinjuku. Like if you draw a circle around Tokyo, Shinjuku's on the left side, and this Uguisudani is on the right top end, and it's really far location if you're coming from Shinjuku. But if you live on the what I call the east side of Tokyo, it is a great location to. It is a close location to access if you're interested. But I went off topic a little bit. But in addition to that, for the 800T, I shot with a 35mm film format instead of the 120 medium format due to the fact that, you guys know, medium format, you get less shots per roll, and it's expensive. The film stock is expensive, and I never had experience shooting with this, and it's a risky bet to like shoot with 120 upstart. So I wanted to get my feet wet with the 35mm film format, so I purchased it. And I wanted to shoot different angles, different like vertical, horizontal orientations, and do a little bit of testing of the what I call how this film would perform, and etc. etc. So I chose 35mm film first, and probably in later video I will try to shoot with a 120 sometime if I have time. So let's see how that goes. One important thing to note about this film stock, and specifically for people who are new, I'm new too, is that although this film is rated at an ISO of 800, which is a really high speed film, a lot of people tend to shoot this handheld. But unfortunately, you don't get the best results from shooting handheld due to the fact that because you're shooting at night, which means that there's less light. What happens after that is, because there's less light, you basically have to open up the aperture to f1.8 or f2 in most cases. Most lenses are designed around that area of aperture. But because even if you open up the aperture and the ISO is still 800, in most cases the scene is too dark, and what you have to do is you basically, as a last resort, have to like slow down the shutter to probably like roughly 1/30th of a second, or maybe 1/60th of a second, but still that is a really slow shutter speed, and most people tend to shoot with like a 35mm, or in most cases like me, most film photographers shoot with like a 50mm like lens, and it's a risky bet to do that due to the fact that in most cases if you shoot in those settings, you will in most cases get camera shake, and if you get camera shake, you get an unsharp image, and you just kind of wasted a shot on the 36 exposure film, and you get like these like regrets and remorse. And this is like why I can't stress so much that if you're shooting at night, the best option available is getting a really sturdy tripod. And although it is time consuming, in most cases it is worth it to invest in a tripod, a really sturdy one, and just have your film camera on that tripod with a cable release. Don't forget the cable release, because there are some people who forget to bring the cable release, and in most cases film cameras tend to do really well if you have a cable release at hand instead of just pressing the shutter on the tripod. That's not the best in a way of shooting. So probably in the comment section there's going to be so many people asking me, what tripod do you use as of 2021? Right now I currently use the Leofoto Mr. Q series of tripod, their flagship tripod, LQ284C, which I guess it's sort of like an equivalent to a Manfrotto's 190 series, but in a better quality, better shape, because it uses a better quality material from Toray carbon fiber tripod. And there's so much to talk about, but that's basically the tripod that I currently use. And as always, I will be shooting with a Nikon F3 50mm 1.8 AIS lens with the Cinestill 800T, shooting on a tripod, long exposure, maybe 4 seconds or 8 seconds, I'm guessing. But yeah, let's get going to the Love Hotel districts of Uguisudani, Tokyo. Okay, after the shoot, there were two things that popped into my mind after viewing the images and stuff like that. And I have to mention about this film stock, and although this is my first time shooting with it, I'm not a master in this craft. Obviously, it has a different view, it has a different like what you call vibe to it, and it has a different what you call color space compared to a typical color negative. And I have to admit, some of the shots look really fantastic in my opinion, while some went I just messed up completely and then went really bad. And there's like two things that I need to mention. One is it's super important, like I said, to have a really sturdy tripod. And I definitely would say this due to the fact that if you, like I said, if you shoot this handheld, in most cases, you will have a super high chance of getting camera shake. And although I didn't stick into the video because I thought it was inadequate, I took a couple of shots handheld and I had a hard time focusing due to the fact that it was like what f1.8 or so, and it's dim and it's hard to like focus to get it right, and I knew that I'm gonna get some out of focus shots. And for your information, these were the shots on how it would look if it goes out of focus. But some of the shots look really nice in my opinion, but it's really hard to get it in focus when you're handhelding in the dark. So I really highly recommend using a tripod when shooting with this film stock. So this is something that I realized after scanning the photos, and in two shots I basically did a test actually of what would it look if I shoot wide open, and what would happen if I shoot at a smaller aperture, as like a sort of like not a scientific test, but just wanted to see how the expression differs on this film stock. And it differs significantly, and depending on your preference, and this really boils to your preference of what you are going after. I shot out f1.8, the exact same location, and f8, f11, I forgot what I shot around it, but at a small aperture, which you guys know if I show around that, you get everything in focus. And you guys can, from looking at the images, they are completely different. And I have to admit that if you shoot it wide open, because of that remjet layer being removed, it means that a lot of light is entering the camera in a short duration of time, but that kind of basically floods the, I guess, the color negative of the Cinestill 800T, and you get this like dreamy look if you shoot at a wider aperture. Some people like that, some people don't like that. And because most of the shots I shot at f8, f11, you guys can tell that the images look really tack sharp and not much halation is going on. And in my opinion, I don't want everything to be in that halation mode, but more like a specific area, specific light ball being halation in that halation zone. And that's basically what I was going after. So that's like one of the things I need to like point out to you guys after shooting with this film stock. What am I supposed to say in the conclusion? So in conclusion, like obviously if you want to get the best results from this film stock, like if you want to shoot at night, probably the best bet is shooting on a tripod. I keep saying over and over again, and I know that people are gonna like, go against me and say that, but majority of people shoot this film stock handheld. I know you want to do that, but from what I experienced, like shooting f1.4, f1.8 wide open in dark scenarios with a film camera is a risky bet, because if you like not nail that focus, you will get a image that you will regret, and you basically probably might have to go back to that location, specific location. But in most cases, you really can't go to that specific location because it is really far away, and you have so much regret on not using a tripod. So my sort of advice is, if you want to shoot at night, probably having a sturdy tripod is a great thing to do and invest. And I mean, at the same time, if you want to shoot it wide open, I still give that advice of like shooting it on a tripod, because then if you have it on a tripod, there's like less chance that you will get a camera shake, vibration, and so forth, and you won't ruin your image. You're highly likely to succeed if you shoot it on a tripod. And I know it is a daunting task, but slowing down that procedure, you will probably progress as a photographer along the way, and make most out of your film stock, because you're basically paying a hefty price for that film stock. So yeah, hopefully I gave a great advice for you guys. If you like this video, please like, thumbs up. And if you have any questions regarding Cinestill 800T, if you have any questions or any kind of comments regarding the equipments that I currently use, please like write it down in the area below. I'm happy to reply during my free time. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my video. We will see you next time. Peace.